Alright, so I'm going to show you how to use Photopea here to make your scavenger hunt uh, piece. So we're going to do this two ways. So the first thing you do is you'd make a new project. We do new project. I'm going to call this Scavenger Hunt 1. I set the sizes in, the DPI, I mean it doesn't matter. If you want it to be a nicer print quality, you would do 300, but it doesn't really matter here. And I've got it filled to the screen. Remember, hitting Control minus or Control plus will change the size. So I did Control plus until it takes up most of my screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to do my background as a gradient. I'm just going to change the colors up on this gradient a little. I go in there by clicking it. So very slight gradient, darker to lighter. You can do whatever extreme you would desire here. And from here, we're going to do this in two ways. You kind of have a do whatever you want one, and you have a follow the procedure one. So we don't need a stroke on this, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to add shapes. And you can pick which shape you want to do. I'm just going to do rectangles because it's easy. And I'm going to start by just making one rectangle in here. And I do want that to have a fill. It doesn't matter what fill is because we're going to fill it up in due time. One thing I do want to show you is by default you don't have rulers on. So I'm going to turn my ruler on, which is Control R. And once I do that, if I right click on the ruler, I'm going to change it to percents. Because what you can do then is you can drop a guide on the percent. So I'm going to come down here to about 10%. It says 15 even though it says 10. Just going down. So I want it to be, let's see, that's fine. We'll just say this is fine. And then what I'm going to do is I've got shape 1. I'm going to change the name on shape 1. So if I double click, I'm going to call this animal because that's what I'm going to put in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag it down here and I'm going to make a copy. I will show you how to make a copy a different way after this. Once I do that, if I go to my selector tool here, I should be able to drag it over. And now I've dragged my copy over like so. And then I'm going to rename this one, will be a tree. And then I can right click on it and duplicate the layer and drag it over. And that one will be a shoe, I don't know. So these are just whatever you want them to be. Double click, so this is shoe. And then I am going to duplicate it one more time and drag this over. Now what I want to do with all 4 of these once I've got them is if I hold Control, I can select them all, or want to redo that. I want to, now that I'm in here, or select them all. So once again, you hold Control to select more than one and click on them. So you see how I've got 4 selected there. And what I want to do is just up here, you've got some controls, and I just want equal spacing with these 4. And maybe I want to move it over like so, and then I want to do equal spacing between the 4. And I could even, and if I really wanted to get crazy, I could be like, okay, so this one's at 8.46, and I could do one on the other side and try to get them to match. And that's kind of close. It really should be somewhere over here. Then like move this, turn the group off, but I'm not going to get that crazy. That's a little closer. So once I've got them all synced to about where I want, I am going to take all 4 of them at once. Hold on. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect everything. And then I'm going to take this group all at once. It should let me take the group, and it did, even though it only saw me dragging down shoe. And make a copy of all 4, which I can then drag down. So this gives me 8 boxes. I would rename these appropriately if I was doing this, of course. So I've got 8 boxes. I can put my text in, because part of this project is doing text. So I'm going to drag a text, and I'm going to type in Scavenger Hunt, which may have been spelled wrong. Scavenger Hunt 1. I'm going to make the text much larger. There we go. I'm going to have it centered. There are some effects in here. So like I could put in effects and then, kind of play with them however I want. That's up to you. So I wrote Scavenger Hunt. Very good. If I wanted to, I could change the color of the text right here. I have blue text if I want. That's fine. And I want the text to be on the very top. So I got my text. It looks pretty ugly, but that's okay because I'm doing this as a lesson. And then we are going to go and begin placing our files. So to place our files, we go to Open or Place. We grab a file. So like there's a bird in this file, I promise. So I went to Open Place, and I'm placing my file in here. And there it is. There's the bird. So now I got this in here, what am I going to do with it? Well, first, I'm going to just grab the bird to make my life easier. And I'm going to right click on this. And I'm going to do that again. I want to select this. I'm going to do Control X. It's telling me I have to rasterize it. So I'm going to rasterize it. And I'm going to do Control X. So that bird is cut out because that's all I wanted. I'm going to delete the rest of this. And I'm going to do a Control V to bring the bird back in. So now I've got my bird in, looking pretty boss. And this is what I want to do. I want my bird to go into one of those boxes. So to get my bird into one of these boxes, I'm going to position it in the box I want. And then I'm going to drag it on top of the box. So you see how it's underneath all these other boxes, but it's on top of this one? Very important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the bird when it's on top of the box I want, and I'm going to hit clipping mask. And that drops the bird inside of that box. I could then hit, whoopsies. I could then, if I wanted, do a free transform on it to make it bigger or smaller as need be. I'm gonna hit enter there. And you're all set. After you do this, we're gonna go to special effects and we're gonna add a stroke. You should only have to spend time on the stroke on the first one. So I'm just gonna add a stroke here. And I want the stroke to be on the outside. I'm going to click OK, see what that does. Doesn't look like it did anything for me. I'm going to go here. I'm going to add stroke. There we go. Had to go on that layer. So we got the stroke on the outside. And now we could go to another layer. Now, if you just had a picture that you stole from the internet, or if you copy and pasted it somewhere, I'm going to go get a picture of a tree. So here we go, a picture of a tree. I'm going to copy it, which you shouldn't be doing it this way, but if you did have a picture in a different Windows browser, like on your Google Drive, and you could copy it, you can come over here and do paste. And I could do a free transform, which once again, edit free transform. Make it so the tree will actually fit in this box. Make sure it is in the layer above tree. So you see it's in the one above tree, which means it is below all the other layers. And I am going to right click and create a clipping mask. And then after you do the stroke the first time, it should pretty much be set. So you can, oops, want to do on this one. So you can just go and click, and it's nice and quick. And this is what you would do for the whole project. You'd go through on each of them, add your images, and you'd be all set. After that, you of course could save it as the Scavenger Hunt PSD, and then what I want is the Scavenger Hunt JPEG. So I am actually going to save this PSD, but I also wanted to just do a new one, and instead of doing all of that fancy stuff for Scavenger Hunt 2, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to do it like I just did, that's fine. But if you want to come in and, I don't know, maybe you want to do an ellipse for one, and then you know, maybe do 2 ellipses that are different sizes, and you wanted to do, you know, a pentagon for one, and you wanted to do some that overlap each other. Like maybe you want this one right here to be overlapping this one with the picture. You can do that. So the second one, you can set up any way you want. You don't have to do that nice pattern that I showed you. And we'll be spending time in class working on this, but this is just kind of to show you how to do it. So good luck.